Support for the Idaho Matters podcast is brought to you in part by University of Idaho, Idaho's only Carnegie R1 classified research university. Our Carnegie R1 designation recognizes the discoveries we make that help our forests thrive. It means we're creating more doctors and doing real research to strengthen cybersecurity for Idaho businesses, our energy sector, and every Idahoan. More at go.uidaho.edu/idaho-is-idaho.
Hundreds of bills move through the Idaho legislature each session, and it can be hard to keep track of what's really at stake. The Connector follows the legislation that's gaining traction with clear reporting and local context you can trust. Stay connected to the State House with The Connector, Idaho Daily News. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
From the studios of Boise State Public Radio News, I'm Gemma Gaudette. You're listening to Idaho Matters. 2 years ago, we told you about the Ada County Victim Services Center. This is where victims of interpersonal violence can find help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, now the center has more than 16 specialized partners who provide help and support for victims of domestic abuse, rape, child abuse, elder abuse, stalking, even human trafficking. Now, the center recently added the Trauma Intervention Program, or TIP, which brings specially trained volunteers to their growing list of partners. And Trina Allen is back with us today. She is the executive director of the Ada County Victim Services Center in Boise. Trina, thanks for coming back on the program.
Thank you so much. It is such a privilege to be here today.
So, Trina, for folks who aren't familiar, remind us what the Ada County Victim Services Center is.
Yeah. So the Ada County Victim Services Center is based on a victim center model. We've been providing service since 2006, and really it is a beautiful place where when somebody has experienced a significant trauma, whether that is through child abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence, elder abuse, human trafficking, or stalking, they're able to come to our center. It is, for the lack of better word, through one door. We have multiple partnerships where they are able to provide needed resource, forensic medical exams, law enforcement reporting. If desired, we have counseling. We have just a myriad of supportive services to help support victims, survivors, and their family members in our community.
So, Trina, can you talk a little bit more in depth about some of the services you provide?
Absolutely. We have a very strong partnership with St. Luke's and their Child Advocacy Center. We also have, that is a fully standing medical clinic. We also have the medical clinic that is a domestic violence, sexual assault follow-up medical clinic. I do want to preface that our services are free. And we also house the St. Luke's and St. Alphonsus, the Ada County Community Safe Team, and that is our on-call sexual assault forensic nurses. So we have that medical component housed inside through our partnerships that is able to help folks even after hours. So our sexual assault forensic nurses are available 24/7. And our medical providers through CARES are also available 24/7. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, no, that's okay, Trina. So can anyone just walk into the center? I mean, truly walk us through how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a number of different ways that folks come to the center. Sometimes people give us a phone call and then they come into the center, but we absolutely have people that are just walking off the street and coming in to access service. And whether that is getting a referral for counseling or if they need to get connected to Idaho Legal Aid, if they are curious about patient navigation, case management, absolutely. When they walk through the door, they're going to be greeted and let in to our lobby. At that time, we're going to have a victim service coordinator meet with them in a really beautiful, safe space and do a small intake. And what that victim service coordinator is doing is really assessing what are the needs of that individual and who is going to be a partner that is best suited to help support them.
And Trina, I know this is a difficult question, and it could be difficult for our listeners to hear, but I think it's important, and that is, who do you see walking in your doors? I mean, give us an idea of the kinds of trauma that you're seeing at the center.
Yeah, I would say that the highest population of victims that we serve are going to be families and children. Those where children have, maybe there's been some concern of abuse, or maybe they were witness to violence. We see a lot of victims of domestic violence, and that includes both women and men. We also, I would say that the Ada County Community Safe Team, so the forensic nurses, they do about 15 to 20 sexual assault exams a month.
Oh, and Trina, you mentioned, men being victims as well. I think this is still something that's taboo in a way, right? I think that we still have this idea that when we think of, in particular, domestic violence, it's it's women who are the victims, and it's men who are violating women. That is very true. There are
Mhm.
also men who are victims. Can you walk us through, um, that piece of it as well, so that we have a better understanding of the fact that, it doesn't matter what your gender is. None of this matters. I mean, abuse can happen, unfortunately, anywhere, right? In any socioeconomic class, any race, any gender, any sexual orientation.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. I would say that primarily, just like you said, Gemma, we are providing service to women who have
Mhm.
experienced violence. But I can emphatically tell you that we are also seeing an increase of um, male identifying victims of domestic violence. And I really think that it's twofold. I believe that we are having more conversation about what abuse looks like, and we are empowering victims across the board, but especially male victims, that they have a place and that they have a voice, and that they also deserve to have protection as well. There is a lot of stigma and that they have to work through in order to get here. But every time
Mhm.
that we have a male victim come into our center, um, I'm just so incredibly proud of them for speaking their truth and for accessing service.
You know, another tough crime that you see is folks who are victims of stalking.
Mhm.
And what I mean by this is a tough crime. It's a tough crime to deal with because it can at times, unfortunately, be difficult to prove from a criminal legal standpoint. So, do you get help from law enforcement when it comes to crimes like this when you have a victim come in?
Absolutely. So when anybody comes into the center, we are able to help connect them to report to law enforcement. And we have a very strong relationship with our local jurisdictions and a strong relationship with Ada County Dispatch. You are correct that stalking it's kind of a hidden crime, and it can be very difficult um, to prove, as you said. We want to really encourage. Sometimes people don't even really understand that they're being stalked until it has escalated into crossing over, some significant boundaries. And so
Hmm.
we want people to understand that if they suspect stalking, we want to hear from them. We want to get those reported to law enforcement if they choose to, and we want to really be able to help support them. Oftentimes, victims of stalking, it comes through the internet, and it can look a variety of different ways. So certainly, victims of stalking might feel um, like they're kind of losing their bearings. And I just
Mm.
want to be able to validate, if you're experiencing some of these things, please come in so that we can have a conversation and get you connected to the right place.
And you said you help folks when it comes to the legal environment. In fact, can you talk to us a little bit more about this monthly legal filing workshop that you put on?
Yes, absolutely. So currently it's at a different location, and that would be at the Family Advocates in Garden City because we are going under some construction right now. But Idaho Legal Aid, in support as well with the Family Court Assistance Program at the courthouse, we all came together and really identified that the our folks were missing that piece. And so we have a filing workshop that is the second Thursday of each month, and then the last Thursday of the month, where folks leaving an unsafe situation can come in and get help with paperwork, understanding what their forms are, and talking to an Idaho legal aid attorney. I
Hmm.
am very excited to report that from having those filing workshops this last year, the Idaho Legal Aid applied for a grant and they were awarded. We will now have a Idaho Legal Aid attorney in-house 4 days a week and are able to schedule appointments as well. So that is a huge resource for our community.
So all of these systems, as you are well aware, can be incredibly difficult to navigate, in particular for victims who are already struggling. So you also offer case managers who can help out. So Trina, what do they do exactly? And frankly, how important is that case manager role?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a relationship with the Women and Children's Alliance, and we can make referral to their program for case management. We also have a relationship with Terry Riley, and we have an in-house patient navigator, which is the term is more for from their medical system, but a patient navigator is um, here 5 days a week, and she is really able to help folks. Um, Maybe if they're struggling with housing or they need to apply for some self-sustaining supports like food stamps or assistance with child care, those kinds of services that are so important when somebody is in an unsafe situation. So they are here 5 days a week. There are times when they can just come out and meet with a person right away. We always have the ability to do an immediate referral and get them connected as quickly as possible.
So, Trina, you mentioned earlier in the conversation that all of these services are free. So, how are you able to do that? I mean, how does all of this get paid for?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are lucky to be here in Ada County and be supported by our Ada County commissioners. So Ada County actually owns and operates the building that we are housed in. Myself and my small but mighty team, we are attached to the prosecutor's office. And then every provider that is in-house is a self-sustaining program. So we have the luxury of providing them space for folks that share the mission of providing resources of medical and mental health care, legal and financial advocacy, and justice for crime victims and their families. So they are already a self-sustaining program. We have the hospital systems, we have our Department of Health and Welfare, Adult Protection, Terry Riley and Tonta Incorporated, Idaho Legal Aid. They already have their own funding mechanism, and so they're managing their own programs under one roof.
So, Trina, you have been on the job for a while now at the center. From a personal standpoint, I mean, how difficult is it for you and your staff when you see people day in and day out coming in who are hurting? They're coming through your doors. They need help.
Yeah. I would say I know that baseline, the work that is done in the center is difficult for most people to hear about. I will tell you that everybody that works in this field or a surrounding field, they are so driven by the sense of service to others and to making things right for people or doing the very best that they can. There's a lot of satisfaction and hope that we see that when somebody comes through that door, and I know that it took a lot of courage for them to call or to make it through our door, man, the least that we can do is provide them with support and compassion and respect and dignity. So I would say that everybody that does the service here, we recognize that there are some days that it can be heavier on our hearts than others, but I would guarantee you that everybody inside can't imagine doing anything else differently. They're so passionate.
Before I let you go, what would you say, Trina, to someone who may be afraid to take that first step, either to get out of an abusive relationship or to report a crime, to walk through your door?
Yeah. But I would encourage each person that may be listening that might be in an unsafe situation or have experienced something that was very traumatic, or maybe they have a loved one that has. I would encourage them to know that you have a community and you have a safe place where people are going to believe you and are really there to support you. I know that it takes a lot of courage.
Trina, I want to thank you so much for taking time to talk with us about this. We've been speaking with Trina Allen. She is the executive director of the Ada County Victim Services Center in Boise. And if you need help, we will put some links on our website to the center as well as some of their services. So just go to boisestatepublicradio.org. This is the Idaho Matters podcast. I'm Gemma Gaudette.
Hi, it's Terry Gross, host of Fresh Air. Hey, take a break from the 24-hour news cycle with us and listen to long-form interviews with your favorite authors, actors, filmmakers, comedians, and musicians, the people making the art that nourishes us and speaks to our times. So listen to the Fresh Air podcast from NPR and WHYY.